All right. Hello, my name is Damien Daspit. I'm with SIL International. And today I want to invite you to step out of your world as a privileged English speaker and step into the world of minority language Bible translation, where we do not have a lot of data. A lot of AI is very dependent on data, and minority language Bible translation often has very, very little data. I'm going to be talking about Lynx. This is a framework that we are working on in SIL to integrate in AI tools into the Bible translation editing tools that we have available to translators. So first, I want to start off giving a bit of context about sort of the motivation for this project. So when we first started, when SIL and Wycliffe first started down the path of doing Bible translation, the way that we worked is that an individual would go, a missionary who's passionate about Bible translation, would do training, get a degree, go into the field, go to a village, work with a people, learn the language, develop a dictionary, maybe a grammar sketch, and then do a Bible translation, basically on their own. And so this is not how we do Bible translation today. There's been a big shift away from that. And today, most Bible translation work is done by what we call mother tongue translators. So those are native speakers of the language. These translators don't have all of that education. They don't have a master's degree in applied linguistics. They have some Bible translation training. They might not even be very familiar with technology in general. And so this has been a big shift in the way that we do Bible translation. Now, one of as a result of that, the expert translators, linguists and translators, are less and less involved with the process. Now, in order to enable this, we really need translation consultants to come alongside these mother tongue translators. And so what we have is a situation where we have a growing need. There's more and more Bible translation projects being done, but there are actually less and less of these consultants that are available. Now, the other sort of big shift that's happened is the reason why we're here today, right? There's been a huge explosion in artificial intelligence, and not just in industry, but also in the Bible translation world as well. So there's a lot of work that's being done on things like Bible translation drafting using neural machine translation. There's also automated quality assessment, automated word alignment. There's a lot of projects that are looking into using large language models and chatbots, and there's many more in development. So we have a situation where we have less and less expat linguists and translators, but we have a growing need, more and more Bible translation projects that are going on. So this is a question that we asked ourselves. Can we leverage all of these different AI tools that are being used to provide simple automated assistance to Bible translators? So what we came up with is a framework that we're calling Lynx. It's built on three sort of pillars. We have a set of guiding principles, core features, and then flexibility and extensibility. So I'll go into each of those. So the guiding principles that we have are basically, they're built on our knowledge of using artificial intelligence tools for Bible translation. So one of the principles is what we call simplicity versus complexity. So a lot of AI tools, they're built on probabilistic models, statistics, things like that. Now these are statistics, probabilities, these kinds of outputs from the system are not useful to a Bible translator, a mother tongue translator who has very little knowledge of these kinds of things. And so a lot of these outputs can be very complex. There's, heat maps, even ChatGPT. I know we think of ChatGPT as being a simple user interface, but some of these mother tongue translators, they can be paralyzed by an empty box that they have to fill in. Like, what do I ask? How we have prompt engineers to try and figure out how to get ChatGPT to do and say what we want it to say. And so even that can be asking too much from a user. Oh, sorry, something's supposed to come up, but it's not coming up. So the main principle here is that we want the tools should have a clear interface and distill outputs into easily understandable suggestions. Okay, so the next principle is push versus pull. Okay, so here we have paratext. Paratext is the main Bible translation tool that's used today. And you have a simple editing window. Now, you might want a source text, right? So we'll add a source text there on the right that they can look at, they can translate from. All right, now we probably also want some translator notes. That's some translation helps. So we'll add that down there in the bottom right. All right. Now, we also need to keep track of our key terms. So there's our key terms tool. We pop that up. We also probably need, we want to do some scripture checks to see what kind of issues we have. And then we probably we want to see a list of all of our words and be able to set up our spell checking and everything. And as you can see, we end up with a whole set of different tools that are all kind of separate from each other, and they're not really connected in any way. And so it's up to the user to orchestrate all these tools and figure out how to get the outputs from all of them, put it together to do a translation. So that's what we call a pull model. So the user has to pull, they have to bring the data. We want to shift more to a push model. So with a push model, the user, we bring the data to the user as they need it. So the main principle here is that we want tools should bring relevant in-context suggestions to users where they are working. Okay, the next principle is focus versus context. So translators can get overwhelmed. If we have all of these different AI tools, they can get overwhelmed by it, giving, each of them has more and more output that gets displayed to the user. And so and the other thing that's important is that the translators need to be able to have an overview of, the tasks that they're working on, but also detailed information. And if you add in these AI tools and each of them is giving output, it can be overwhelming. So the main principle here is we want the tools should provide detailed information on the current task while still preserving the global view at reduced detail. All right, so let's get into some of the core features of the framework. All right, so the first one here is what we call smart prompts. And so the main purpose of smart prompts is to highlight potential issues early in the process. So we want to short circuit. Oftentimes these tools that I've shown before, they can help the quality assurance process. They can surface issues, but they're run in batch, they're run late in the process, and as a result, consultants, the quality of the translation isn't as good. Consultants have to be more involved, and that's really the bottleneck, and we're trying to reduce that. So the earlier we can find issues and get them fixed, the less load there will be on consultants later, the higher quality the translation will be. So these smart prompts want to surface those issues right away. And basically what you're looking at are like red squiggly lines. So we want to show in the text this is a potential issue. They can have different levels of severity, red indicating, oh, this is something you really need to pay attention to, orange maybe not. They can also have associated quick fixes. So if it's something that can be fixed easily, like they're using the wrong punctuation, the wrong quotation mark or something, they can click a button and it just fixes it. Also, these tools aren't necessarily perfect. So we need a way to be able to say, I've checked this, it's good, I want to dismiss it. And so the kinds of tools that you would see here are like automated scripture checks or automated quality assessment, automated spell checking. If you saw the presentation earlier about Greek Room, that's a great example of the kind of tool that we would integrate here as smart prompts. Okay, the next one is in-context resources. So the main purpose of in-context resources is we want to surface translation resources that are relevant to the current task and context. We don't want the user to have to go find the information they need on their own. We want to find it for them and bring it to them as they're doing the translation work. And so we can use things like large language models, for example, to do this, where you can have a large language model that can look at your current context, what you're currently working on, the translation resources that are available, the exegetical resources that are available, and provide a summary that's relevant to the particular context that you're in. We can also leverage a lot of the other resources that are available, things like key biblical terms, translators' notes, enhanced resources, dictionaries. And so you can see an example here where the user has hovered over the word Galilee, and it's using a key term and word alignment from the source text to display a key term entry with information there about Galilee. All right. The next feature is machine translation. This is something that our team has been working on for a while now. We've recently implemented drafting capability, but we want to go farther than that. So we have basically right now we have drafting where we can rough draft, we can generate a rough draft and then the team edits it. They can also be used as reference translations, but we also want to provide in this kind of a framework the ability to do translation suggestions. So that's basically the user types in, drafts the translation themselves, and then the model provides suggestions about how to translate the next word or phrase, and then the model's also trained incrementally. So as soon as they finish a verse and move on to the next, it already has learned from that previous verse, and it can give suggestions based off of that. We can also provide capabilities like automated correction and find or replace. So if they go into a text and they fix a translation, we want to be able to not only the model to learn so that future suggestions take that into account, but we also automatically go back and fix any other places in the text that had a similar error. We can also leverage things like word alignment in this view to show potential issues in the translation, like missing words there on the right with Jordan. So this is just kind of an example, a mock-up of what this kind of a framework, how this could work inside of tools like Paratext. You have your source and your target text. You have a chapter view, which gives you the context with your smart prompts in them, showing potential issues. Then you have a verse view, showing a focused view on the particular verse that you're currently working on that has more dense and detailed information in it. It has a suggestion for how to translate the rest of the verse. It has translators notes on the right that have detailed information about the particular verse, translation resources there that could also be filled in. That box on the right could be filled in by a large language model. And then we leverage some of these resources here, like a dictionary, and using word alignment, we can show the dictionary entry for the source word, and then potential alternative translations for that. And also using, you can see it, we've kind of color-coded the words in the translation there. That can indicate potential issues and how consistently you've translated. So a green would indicate maybe that you've translated that very consistently in the past, but went, maybe that's a lower, it isn't as consistent with your translation model, and so that there might be a better alternative word for that. All right. Last, I want to talk about flexibility and extensibility for this framework. So we want to build the framework around a set of standard APIs and shared components. And the main reason why is that we don't want to just build this into Paratext. We want this to be available to other translation editors as well. So we want to target multiple translation editors. We want to support multiple AI tools, and we want to plug in new tools as the technology evolves. And so the way to do that is to provide an API that all of the different shared components can adhere to, and then you write the tools, the editors, to the API. And that allows you to swap out different tools pretty easily. And so we want to put together this API and share it with the community, and we can all work together and collaborate and build tools that we can integrate into the Bible translation editing environments that we have available. And so this concludes my presentation, and I just want to invite everybody here to who's involved in Bible translation, who's building these kinds of tools, that we can work together to be able to, improve the Bible translation tools for the community. So, thank you.